and welcome to the next high poly model lecture. Here we're going to model an axe, and here's the blue box to set our scale. Always load that in first just to be on the safe side. So remember this, we drew this as a supplement sketch back when we did our concept, and we're going to use this inside Max to sort of model against, if you like. We just need to make it into a square image, just the actual drawing of the axe. I've included it in this lecture so you can download it, both images, this one and the square one. Okay, so we're going to start by creating a plane. Simple square plane, make sure it's square. It doesn't matter about its size for now, because we can scale things. Once we finish, we can scale it up or down, whatever, to fit the correct size. It's all about just modeling a good model at this stage. So this is going to be a plane, a square plane to fit our image of the axe onto it. So make sure you've got rotation snap switched on, because it's easier to lock it into like that. This is where the left and right views come in handy. Turn on shading. You can see that's not square yet, so let's modify this so that it is square. Both length and width 400. Just set it on 0, just so it sits in the right place when we come to displaying our. Just so it's in the right place when we start modeling. So this is the image I created. I just cut it out of that other image, exactly square. It doesn't matter about the size too much, as long as it's not too small, so it's de-resed. So just cut it out as a square, and now we're going to apply it onto this plane. Open up your material editor by clicking this button at the top here. You'll probably get it like this, which is the newer look for the material editor. So click on modes and go into the compact material editor. I prefer to use this, but you can use the other one if you want to. And this is the compact version. Right click on any one of those boxes and select the 6x4 at the bottom. That way, that's all different materials. We're only going to use one for now, the top one. So make sure it's selected. Okay, now name it axe image, just so we know that material is what it's used for. Next to diffuse, click on the little button here. Select bitmap. Double click on that, and now go and find your JPEG file of your axe, like so. So it comes in. If you click on view image, so if you go down the bottom there, you'll see that it's the correct image applied to that slot on diffuse. So just click on view image and you'll see it. Turn it into a poly, editable poly, and then down the bottom here, assign material to selected. So make sure it's selected, make sure the object's selected, and then I click apply, and over here you've got a show material button. So just click that and it should display in your image, and that's it for now for the materials. That's all we need to do. Now rotate it so that it's up the correct way, like so. So there we go. That's it. That's our plane with our axe. Okay, let's just so I'm just gonna turn on backface cull. and rotate it around the other way so it's facing the center. So it's facing 0, which is the middle there. Okay. Cool. Now we can start modeling, which is great. Let's just move it back a little bit. Just make sure, just bring it down so that the axe is sitting roughly on the grid, like so. Okay, right, now from the side, from the right, it depends on which way your plane is facing, but I've got it facing that way. So in the right view, I can see it flat, like so. And now we can shape it inside Max. You know, we can pull verts and we can get the actual side view, the side profile of our axe pretty much spot on. So we're going to start with a box because the axe head is very box-like. So you know, if you break it down into shapes, you've got a tube for the handle, although we're not going to do a tube, and you've got a sort of a boxy shape for the head. Just make it a bit thicker like that. So you're getting a rough, it's really rough size at the moment. It doesn't have to be exact, so don't worry too much. Okay, so we're going to grid it up with loops and edges so we can start pulling them around. How many should we do? Because we've got these curves on the axe, we want to be able to represent those. Give it a few vertical, yeah, there. A few vertical loops, like so. I think that'll do. That'll get us by for now. We can always add more, so it's not, like I said before, it's not a problem. Okay, this orthographic view is not nice. I just don't like it. Back into the right view. We're doing this facing straight on to the image and straight onto the model in the right viewport, so it's directly facing it. Rotate it so we get roughly in the right place. There we go. That's cool. Okay, now I'm going to make it transparent. In properties, click see through there and click OK. Now I can see through it, and now just position it. I can start pulling around my verts to get the shape of the axe, and then just do this. Just keep pulling it around. And I'm going to put this video on fast forward, so you just do the same. Just pull the verts around, watch me do mine, and if you're doing the same, just keep pulling it through. Just keep pulling the verts around until you're happy with the shape. I'm not going to do anything other than that during this section, so just pull your verts and get your shape. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a few more loops, just to get some more detail, some more shape into this, and then pull it around some more. Okay, so that's the first part. That's the basic shape done. Very boxy, very simple. But you got the basic shape of the axe. So now we're going to extrude the handle out from that. And then line it up. Position the verts in the correct place so it matches the handle. So here you can see me setting it up so I can separate the polygons for the leather straps. I won't actually be detaching it or anything, but I'm going to be able to assign a different material to that part of the model, which is quite important later on when we come to texturing and applying materials. We need to be able to determine where the leather straps is on the model, and by modeling around it then we can do that. And here's our basic shape. So as you can see, it's already starting to represent an axe. Don't forget to save it as you go along. Really important to save your model regularly as you progress, although your auto back should back it up in case of any emergencies, but just make sure it's saved regularly. Okay, so there's our basic model. Now we're going to start adding a bit more detail to it. Okay, now I'm going to cut out that hole. I'm going to cut out the hole by just selecting the faces, pressing delete. Like so. There you go. There's our shape. But now we've got to fill that hole in, obviously. Select the edges on one side, like this. And extrude, so hold shift and move it across. There you go. And just make sure snap is on. Just move it that last little bit. There you go, into position. And then weld them. Make sure you weld the verts. Using weld. Click. Oh, okay, that didn't work quite. We've got to adjust the threshold there. Just as it works, bring it down, 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 down. So just until, there you go. So that's welded. So that's welded now. Use the tick to confirm. Just double check by pulling them around. Yep, okay, they're joined. That's cool. Just click once on these verts and pull them. Okay, that's cool. Okay, now I'm going to start using Mesh Smooth. Switch it on and off just to give us an idea of what it's going to look like in its final form. You'll find Mesh Smooth up here. Just click on it once and you'll see it smooths the mesh, and we're going to use this to add more triangles to it later, but you can see it's not ready, but it does a pretty good job. More detail needed. some edges to hold the shape more. So if you just undo that, so make sure Control Z. Every time you use it, just Control Z to come out. But you can control it just by adding loops. In fact, we're probably going to use Turbo Smooth rather than Mesh Smooth. It's a little more efficient. It just does a better job. But it's a similar thing, and I'll show you the difference between that when we get there. So I'm just putting an edge around the end of the handle here, and that will hold the shape, stop it from collapsing when we apply Mesh Smooth. Right. If you click on Mesh Smooth, deselect edges, select your model, click on Mesh Smooth, and you'll see it holds the shape. Now it's got that edge; it doesn't collapse in on itself. That's a much better, it's a much better shape for the end of the handle. Undo, Control Z. Okay, so now we're going to do the blade, and I'm going to thin the blade, so I'll let this fast forward and just follow through what I do here. We're just going to pull the verts in tight using the scale. As a result of using that Mesh Smooth, the vertices went a little bit wobbly, so I'm straightening the blade up now. It was because I use soft selection, it kind of shifted them off the axis, so I'm just making sure that they're straight again. Okay, starting to look pretty cool now as an axe. Still some more to do. Not quite happy with the definition of the handle coming out at the end. There's a few things. Need some extra loops in various places. Yeah, the top of the axe. And and something's happened to my tip of my handle. Not sure what's happened there. I probably selected it somewhere along the line. Yeah, because it's even like it when it's in box mode. So yeah, we should fix that. Pull it back out again. Not quite sure what happened there. Probably when I was scaling the this is a good example, you need to be very careful. This is probably when I was scaling the blade. That's when that sort of, I obviously selected those verts as well, and it just collapsed with it. So yeah, that should fix it. Yep, there you go, that's fixed. So this is the final model. I turbo smoothed it, which you can find over here. If you haven't got that on your panel, just go down on the modifier list and search for it down here. If you want to include it into your often used list of buttons here, just right click on the modifier list and go to configure modifier sets. Select the button you're not using or add a new one like that. Just click that button, increase that number there. Select the empty one, go down and find it. There it is in the list. Double click on it and it'll put it in that slot and click OK. I'm going to click cancel because I've already got it over here. You can see it there, so I'll cancel that. But if you haven't got it, just click OK and just apply it to the model like so. And you can keep applying that, but that's, that's quadrupled my poly count, so I don't want to do that. This is perfectly fine and perfectly adequate for what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be using it for. We got it down to 964 triangles, so that is perfectly acceptable for today's consoles and PC games. That's a pretty nice shape. I optimized after I used Turbo Smooth. You can see it adds a lot more loops, so I optimized it, took out some of the loops using control and backface from after selecting them. But just be careful what you do. You want to retain the shape. Any edges you take out, any loops that you take out, got to be loops that don't really change the shape of the model. However, you do want to sort of optimize it as much as possible. What else did I do? I redefined the end here. I flattened it and then re-extruded it to give it a much more defined ending, so that it looks like the handle follows through the metal head and out the other side. I'm giving it a much better defined shape on the end. That's pretty much it. That's what I did. Yeah, so when we come to texture it, we'll split it out into metal for the head, wood for the handle, and leather straps here. And I've got the polygons ready so I can separate them when we come to do our materials. And we'll create a sort of multi-sub material with 3 different types of materials in it. And then when we put it into Substance Painter will recognize that and separate it off as 3 different sections of the model. And I'll show you how to do all that once we get to that section. So there we go. That's the axe done. On to the next one. So I will see you in the next lecture.